My name is Soraya, and you are listening to Wild Roots. In this episode, we will be speaking with the organizing director of the Global Alliance for the Rights of Nature, or GARN, as well as members of their executive committee about their goals and objectives and overall mission of the Global Alliance for the Rights of Nature. The Global Alliance for the Rights of Nature's message is simple. It is that just as human beings deserve the right to live and thrive on this planet, so do all other aspects of nature, whether they are trees, mountains, or rivers. We do, after all, depend on nature for our own well-being and survival, because, well, we too are deeply intertwined in this grand ecosystem we call Earth. According to GARN, rather than treating nature as property under law, Rights of Nature acknowledges that nature in all its life forms has the right to exist, persist, maintain, and regenerate its vital cycles. And we, the people, have the legal authority and responsibility to enforce these rights on behalf of all ecosystems. So join us on a truly extraordinary global effort to implement, uphold, and secure indefinite rights for Mother Earth.
So yeah, my name is Hanna Begovic. I am the organizer here at GARN, at the Global Alliance for the Rights of Nature, since, November 2017. I'm originally from Sweden, where I used to work with like a diverse set of issues, everything from, women's rights to climate change, urban sustainability, a little bit of indigenous rights and sustainability. So I had like a very, very wide spectrum of interests within this kind of work. I was feeling that, we needed a new approach that was more, that could actually lead to a real transformation of our systems around the world, like economic systems and this whole view of development. And I felt like the approaches that I had come across until that point weren't enough. It wasn't transformatory enough for actually building up a new system, a new future, or a future that is with a planet that is greener, that is healthier, that is more just, and that has societies that are actually sustainable and where we can actually reconnect with nature. But through through the societies we have today, it exists this separation, human beings from the rest of nature, where this kind of view of development also triggers even more and strengthens even more this view of humans being above nature.
Yeah.
And I felt like this kind of, perception among a lot of people who actually were working with these questions as well. Maybe it was, a little bit of like subconscious perspective, and I was thinking, this is also a problem. We need to change how we look at our role on this planet and where our place is, and what we can do in this role. So there, I actually was about to do my thesis in 2017, in the beginning of 2017, and I wanted to go to Ecuador. And I got an internship to do my research in an organization here called Fundación Pachamama, where I was focusing on the social and cultural structures and constructions of the relationship with nature that indigenous people have in the Ecuadorian Amazon. So there I was, analyzing a lot. How do people connect to nature, and how do they look at their role within nature, and how do the social and cultural constructions and roles determine their interaction with the nature around them. So there I kind of built up this interest for rights of nature. And then I found out that GARN was creating a team in Ecuador. And I decided that I wanted to try to become a part of that team. And because I was planning on moving to Ecuador anyways in December 2017. So I thought it was perfect. So then I applied and I had interviews and all of that. And then I got a place as the organizer. And actually, my first task was to be the logistics coordinator and the volunteer coordinator for the fourth International Rights of Nature Tribunal that was held in Germany.
Could you maybe share with us what some of these efforts look like from some of the amazing people on your executive member committee? I've looked over their profiles, and these individuals are doing some incredible work and have achieved some very impressive goals.
I mean, first of all, the executive committee members are, they're from different parts of the world working with rights of nature in their communities and their regions. So we have, for example, Michelle Maloney in Australia, who has worked for many years with rights of nature and governance. And she over there has the organization AELA. And they, for example, have tribunals over there for the rights of nature. And that is something that has grown a lot in that part of the world. So she works a lot with the tribunals, a lot with the communities. And then we have Vandana Shiva in India. And I mean, we all know Vandana Shiva. She travels all around the world and has a major impact. And actually, one thing that she did with us recently was she held a webinar session in our series about the importance of rights of nature and the work that she does as Nadanya. She is I think she's an inspiration for a lot of people around the world and communities for her advocacy work. And then we have, Valerie Cabanes, who is part also of the climate change kind of like lawsuit of the French government, where they got, they got millions of signatures. I think they got 1 million signatures in like 24 hours
Wonderful.
For this case. Yeah, where they also connected, rights of nature into the case or into the lawsuit. And and she also travels around the world working with rights of nature. She went on a delegation in New Zealand together with Michelle Bender as well to start building a rights of nature framework over there.
That's wonderful.
I think it was for oceans. Yeah. And then we have Samantha Novella, who is one of the main advocates for rights of nature in France, building the movement over there.
It's such an awesome vision that I think we all know needs to happen, and we all know it can happen. It just really puts in motion what so many people envision for a healthy society and a healthy planet. So it's so exciting to hear about your executive members and how not only are they leading others in these issues, but that also this alliance's goal is to encourage a larger, truly global effort here, which is so inspiring.
The mission of GARN, together with the executive committee, is to build a worldwide network that is collectively working together to recognize and effectively implement and uphold rights of nature laws in order to change the direction humanity is taking our planet. So it's quite a big mission, and we need all the connections and all the work from all places.
So how can organizations become a part of this global alliance? Can individuals also become members?
For sure. I mean, so on our website we have a section for like becoming a member, where you have a form, and it's free. It's a free membership platform, and you get a bunch of membership benefits connecting with organizations and communities and people all around the world, because we don't have only member organizations, but we also have individuals who are interested in rights of nature, or who are involved for many years now in the movement. And yeah, so on our website there is all the information on the rights of nature, rightsofnature.org. There is information on our membership, what we do, and also one really great membership benefit is, so we are expanding our organizational structure and building regional and theme-based hubs, which are basically networks that are focused on a specific region or a specific theme. I can give examples as well, that where, the support for the rights of nature efforts on the ground can be more localized, and GARN can support, by spreading the information on a more global scale, and then also supporting different hub member organizations, and individuals who want to work on the region, by sharing, educational resources, by connecting people with each other, and collaborating together. So for example, one hub that we do have is the European hub, that opened in May, and they are focusing, they're focusing on that region and building up the movement there for the rights of nature, and also for, informing, educating people, conducting, more research on the rights of nature across universities in Europe. They want to hold, for example, a regional tribunal for the rights of European rivers. And then we have a global network that just launched 3 weeks ago that is called Youth Circle for Rights in Nature, which is a global space, a global network by youth and for youth, who want to advance and promote the rights of nature around the world. And there, for example, the mission of that network is to empower youth to become ambassadors of the movement, to be able to generate, positive impact, and promote successfully the rights of nature and future generations. So one thing that this network also does is working with intergenerational rights.
Wow.
So as a member of GARN, you can become part of these spaces as well.
Well, I am deeply touched by the work that you do, and thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me, and for the work that you do for the rights of nature. It truly is phenomenal work, and I am excited to be able to speak to some of your executive members. It sounds like you have a great committee.
Yeah, I'm very happy to be a part of this space for sure. And thank you so much for the opportunity to speak to you and to share our work.
What a beautiful thing to be a part of. I definitely encourage my listeners to become a member of this Global Alliance for the Rights of Nature and take part in something truly, truly beneficial for us globally. It is something you'll feel proud to be a part of, for sure. So consider becoming a member of the Global Alliance for the Rights of Nature and join Hannah and her amazing team in their phenomenal efforts to establish rights of nature laws. So although I would love to speak with all of GARN's executive members about their individual goals, we only have time for a few. The first executive member we will be speaking to is Michelle Bender. Michelle's involvement is focused on promoting legal rights for marine ecosystems and species, and is the only youth representing within GARN's executive member committee.
I am the Ocean Rights Manager at Earth Law Center, and we're a nonprofit based here in the US, but we work internationally as well. And we work to transform our law to recognize that nature has inherent rights. And as a part of that, we're part of the Global Alliance for the Rights of Nature. So that's how I, became cued into this about 3.5 years ago, just through my work with ELC. And then about 2 years ago is when I became an executive committee member for the Global Alliance. And, prior to that, my background was in ocean law and policy. And so my role, both at ELC and a little bit at GARN as well, is to sort of provide that expertise for how to incorporate the rights of nature into ocean law and policy and conservation internationally. I really saw a gap in the movement. No one was talking about oceans. We were seeing headlines with ecosystems like national parks, rivers gaining legal personhood, and countries were passing new law, amending their constitutions, but no one was really talking about the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
So we've really started this program to expand not only the awareness and knowledge of what's happening with the ocean, but how we can apply this rights in nature movement and framework to conservation efforts, worldwide.
Wow, Michelle, that's amazing. So what kind of sort of on-the-ground efforts have you been conducting in regards to this particular mission?
Yeah, so our initiatives vary from the local to the regional to the international level. So at the local level, we work with partners to draft new laws and build their campaigns, help them get their laws passed. So, for example, one initiative we have here in the US is with some partners in the Salish Sea here in Washington State. And that initiative is, the first immediate objective is to gain legal rights for the southern resident orcas who are highly endangered. There's only 75 left in their population, maybe 76. We're not sure if one has died right now, another one, unfortunately. And, with the long term objective for this campaign is to gain legal rights for the entire ecosystem, the entire Salish Sea, to really provide for a habitat that is healthy and thriving, which goes hand in hand with the orcas' rights because they need a healthy ecosystem and healthy prey populations such as the Chinook salmon to be healthy. Um, so that's one sort of local level initiative. And then at the regional level, for example, we have partners in Uruguay and the Pacific Island nations to create more regional scale protection and conservation efforts. So in Uruguay, they already have a whale and dolphin sanctuary that was created about 5 years ago. And so the goal with our partners, the Organization for the Conservation of Cetaceans there, is to gain legal rights for the sanctuary. Because right now it really just is, a sanctuary that was defined in law that prohibits the harm to whales and dolphins, but it doesn't quite have those implementation measures that you need to really create an ecosystem and a atmosphere of living in harmony with the sanctuary. So our goal there is by gaining legal rights is we can provide for, a marine protected area sanctuary that is fully and effectively protected, in a non-anthropocentric way,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then internationally, because the ocean, what it is, it's 70% of the planet, and a lot of the ocean is in areas beyond national jurisdiction.
Right.
So you really need international effort if you want to create change at such a scale. And so we have initiatives working within the United Nations and the International Union for the Conservation of Nature to really advocate, raise awareness, and um, push for a new law that recognizes that the ocean has rights. It's a legal entity that has rights to exist and thrive, and that our laws should reflect that. And one example is there's currently a new treaty being discussed for protecting biodiversity on the high seas at the United Nations. And the negotiations started last year, even though the process started a little bit earlier. And so, one thing we're working on is providing recommendations for how we can really adopt this more ecocentric approach into the new treaty.
So, what are the biggest challenges that you face in your particular mission, and what are some of the examples of the encouraging outcomes that you have seen, other than the ones you have already
I
mentioned?
think the challenges in my projects are, basically the challenges that we're seeing in the movement in general. It's you're coming up against, you have to change values and perspectives and behaviors. And so you're coming up against interests that have a lot of power in a lot of cases, and industries like commercial fishing, like oil and gas, that really just don't have the political will to change. And so a lot of it is, we have to keep pushing, raising awareness, educating that something's wrong with our current governance and legal systems, and that, helping everyone realize that we are connected with nature and we're a part of nature. Um, and that requires a paradigm shift in our society. And so definitely, especially when it comes to the ocean, it's like that realization that what we do to the ocean, we do to ourselves. What we do to nature, we we do to ourselves, because there is this huge disconnect
Mm-hmm.
in society nowadays, where we've kind of lost sight of that. And so I think, that's not only a challenge with my ocean specific projects, but also within the movement in general.
Michelle, thank you so much for your contribution and involvement for the rights of nature. I so admire all of your efforts with GARN and just want to thank you for all that you do.
Of course. Thank you.
Our last guest has a passion for the sea, big storms, and sailing, and holds a vision of healthy oceans and marine life protection.
So I'm Fiona Wilton. I'm from the UK. I grew up in Cornwall, which is a coastal region of the UK. So I grew up, to be honest, with a big passion for the sea and storms and untamed nature. But I've actually lived most of my life in South America, especially in Colombia, and for more than 25, near to 30 years actually. I've been in South America working with indigenous communities in the Colombian Amazon and in the Sierra Nevada de Santa Marta regions. I've also lived in Ecuador. And right now I live in Uruguay, where I work especially on marine conservation and working for healthy oceans.
Wonderful. So how did you become a part of the Global Alliance for the Rights of Nature, or GARN?
Okay. Well, my link with GARN stems really because for the past 25 years, I've been working with a very small organization, environmental organization called the Gaia Foundation, which is based in the UK. Gaia it's been going for about 30 years. Although we're small, we work with a big global network, and our focus is especially on reviving biocultural diversity, regenerating healthy ecosystems, and what we call restoring a respectful relationship with and love for Mother Earth. So for a couple of decades now, working with Gaia, I've been happy to and able to work alongside local indigenous communities, many of which are reviving their earth-centered traditions, protecting their sacred natural sites, defending their lands and their waters. And I came to the Global Alliance for the Rights of Nature, to GARN, through the Gaia Foundation. In fact, the Gaia Foundation was one of the founding organizations of GARN back in, in 2010, I think it was. There was a founder meeting in Ecuador, and we were one of the organizations involved.
Wow.
And right now I'm on the executive committee of GARN. I think it's 12 of us from dotted around the world. We meet regularly, and Hannah, who you've spoken to, she's the central cog, as it were, that holds us all together. She's the organizer based in Ecuador.
So what are your specific goals in your role in GARN, and what are some of the achievements that you've made in this alliance?
Okay. Well, I'm sure Hannah's told you that the alliance, it's a global network. It's for organizations and individuals. We welcome everybody, really. So the members include, they range from lawyers, economists, indigenous leaders, spiritual leaders, business people, students, activists. And I believe that there's membership covers at least 100 countries right now. It's literally in all inhabited continents we have members, and it's growing. Rights of nature is very much an issue that people are starting to wake up to and realize the importance of. So I would say the main focus of Gaia, sorry, edit that one, Gaia and GARN, because so we actually share the main focus. That's fine.
Yeah, you
the
do.
Main focus of GARN's main focus is to encourage and support the recognition and the effective implementation of rights of nature. And so we're sort of bringing together all the different networks and individuals and organizations who are passionate about or interested in or want to know more about rights of nature. So it's a case of informing, but also providing, tools and a way for there to be active cooperation, and also the development of legal tools that are based on the rights of nature.
Yeah, I think so many people become intimidated by the legal aspect of things, myself included. I don't have the know-how on achieving those things. So I very much value and respect those who share their knowledge to create change in this way in regards to the rights of nature. Personally, I never feel like what I do is enough and that policy is everything today.
Yeah, I think it's important not to focus only on the legal, but the legal aspect is important because it's the recognizing the fact that nature does have rights. So that, all elements in our ecosystem, whether you're talking about trees or the oceans or the rivers or whether it's different species or mountains, all elements of our Mother Earth, we all have the same rights, the right to be, the right to exist, the right to have your natural cycle, just as human beings have rights. And, if we were all to live acknowledging, that we're all part of the web of life and, feeling the responsibility that still many indigenous communities and many traditional communities still have, they feel that deep responsibility to other species and to Mother Earth. But unfortunately, the dominant Western society, we don't. We've lost that.
Yes.
And so if we were all to feel that responsibility, then having legal recognition of rights wouldn't be necessary.
Right.
But unfortunately, that's the way it is right now. So, yeah.
Yeah, the way I see it is we're just really trying to rekindle what we know is true.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, in closing, is there anything else you might like to add?
I can say two things. One is that for the Gaia Foundation, we're working especially with partners in Africa, and there's a real surgence in Africa of interest for rights of nature, and we're working with many advocates, as it were, that are particularly interested in promoting Earth jurisprudence, and that's an exciting area that's growing. And a second thing I would say that for listeners is that rights of nature, it's not that complicated. I mean, if you took it down to a very simple level, all we're saying is that any activity that undermines the well-being of the Earth is actually undermining our own human well-being as well. So it just makes sense. Nature needs rights.
GARN has made some astounding achievements. For instance, in 2007, through their efforts, Ecuador had become the first country to rewrite their constitution to include a chapter on the rights of nature. This country's constitutional recognition of the rights of nature is truly revolutionary. Speaking with these executive members was an incredible opportunity. Every one of them has their own special niche and interests that when combined build a powerful global push to achieve what we all know must happen. The Global Alliance for the Rights of Nature is truly an organization with which its mission sits directly in alignment with all I have ever dreamt of this world and for nature. I am deeply moved by these incredible individuals. Thank you, Hannah. Thank you, Michelle. And thank you, Fiona. And thank you to all who have made it their life mission to strive for the rights of nature. This is Wild Roots. Thanks for listening.